Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Welcome back yet again.
Yes. And so when you look up in the sky, many days you see this.
These are contrails.
Oh, yeah. Well, the second part's right, And of course, officially these things don't exist. Unofficially, yeah, there's tons of declassified documents showing they do exist. And then, of course, BG, the infamous BG. If you're running a Windows system, I'm sure you know BG. Well, he wants to do us a favor by cutting out the rays of the sun by putting things like this up there.
Well, it's because he does care about us so much.
Yes, he does. Oh, boy. Always good for a laugh, that BG, isn't it? It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine?
Let's not insult Mr. Rogers.
Yes, exactly. A twisted, satanic version. Anyway, guys, it's all about this. It's really all about the sun right now. And as we've said, the sun is a relay. The sun is many things, many, many things. The sun is the life bringer. There would be no life without the sun. Mm-hmm. That is for sure. No life in this solar system. As you see the Earth to scale next to the sun, it's a pretty awesome sight.
It is, and it seems like the Earth could just go plop in there like a soup and be gone forever.
It would be like popping a pimple.
It would be gone.
Just gone. Mm-hmm. So, what we have gotten, we just got done with meditation and some mantras. And in the sun, it was challenging today. It was 28 degrees going out there. Had to get through a few rounds of mantras before I took my shirt off and just absorbed the sun's rays. As the sun is sending its information in the form of light to our DNA in order to cause positive mutations to us. And again, of course, the official sources would have you in fear of that and have you lather up with sunscreen to block that information from getting to your DNA so you don't get your downloads, you don't get your upgrades.
That's right. They want to keep that a secret. So this whole time, what we've been putting on our skin to protect us has been slowing our evolution.
And so Elohim literally means mighty gods. It is a plural word. And it's been translated God the singular in the Old Testament. But it's a plural word. So it's a distortion. Now, is there one source? Yes. And ultimately, the great secret of everything is all is one. Mm-hmm. Yet, it's Elohim is the translation, mighty gods. And so, in meditation before, Cindy saw these beings that exist inside the sun.
Right. Yeah, I've seen these beings. And Elohim, creator gods, that's what they are. And I never realized that before until I start having this information come at me, and then all the puzzle pieces start fitting together. That's what I got. These are Elohim.
So when you look at it, there's those that look at the Bible and say, well, Adam and Eve heard the sound of God walking in the garden, and take that to be the actual creator of everything. And then there's those that would say, wait a minute, how could the creator of everything make a sound walking in the garden? And how about offerings, like Cain and Abel? Why would the creator turn away offerings other than a blood sacrifice, but accept a blood sacrifice? And then people will say, well, that's because everything is a foreshadowing of Jesus's blood sacrifice, Yeshua's. As Jesus is a Latin version of the name of Yeshua, which Yehoshua is the original, Yeshua is the shortened. Everything is a distortion. Everything is covered up. Everything is so entangled, distorted, obfuscated on purpose to keep us absolutely confused. So you have to go to other versions and you have to go within. So you look at everything that wasn't put in the Bible, and you look at, say, the Sumerian scrolls. You understand that the Anunnaki gods actually were thought to live in their temples. And they were given offerings which they ate, consumed. they actually had sex with human beings and had offsprings, blood lineage. How is this possible when we're talking about a spiritual being, a being of such high vibrations that it would be impossible to behold or contain? Well, and then you could say, well, look at Vishnu, right? Vishnu is the preserver. He's not the ultimate source, but he's high up on the totem pole, and he's taken human incarnations as Rama, Krishna, and others. And in that case, then could enjoy human life and enjoy food and dance and play and sing and make merry and all that. But it's not really that. That is what is being alluded to here. So the Elohim truly are very high vibrational spiritual beings. And what density would you say they are at?
It's just so difficult to say. It's how many densities are there? They're so far up there, they're hard to comprehend because they don't look at things like there is life and death. They just look at things as they are, and they create and they grow, and they're very proud of us. And that I can feel, that I translate. I don't hear from them because they don't speak words like we speak. They send vibrations and information, and I translate that.
To them, would it be fair to say that each one of our human incarnations is viewed as a single day in the greater life of the soul, and each time we pass on, it's viewed as perhaps a night, or maybe that's actually the opposite when you get down to it. But they're viewing it in that bigger term.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Even us, if we were to look at, say we're living this life to prepare for the next life, you would be much more careful what you do in this life. Say even we're living today and in preparation for tomorrow, that would make us much more careful about how we work things today.
Most definitely, for sure. So what you got today in meditation from them in the sun is that, well, there's going to be 6 weeks of upgrades coming?
Mm-hmm. We do, and it came in about the last 3 days. And, if you can put a time on it, it's going to be about 6 weeks of upgrades. And, being out in the sun, even for 10 minutes a day, as much skin as you can. I know it's cold, so be safe, be careful. But even just sun on your face, sun on your hair, sun on your arms, sun on your hands. That's going to really, really be very beneficial for you in the long run.
And so this is upgrades, basically. This is part of the evolutionary process that is planned by the Elohim, which comes on down from source. So you could view it like, it's almost like one of those family trees. So at the very top, you have source, which is, given many different words and in different traditions, just limitless light, infinity. There's so many things that we try to describe it with. The Tao itself, because in Taoism, anything that could be named or described is not the Tao. It's only a portion of the Tao. The Tao is unknowable. It's so infinite that our tiny human brains can't understand it. We can understand it when we move our consciousness out of our brain, which is what we do in meditation. We shift it to the true mind, and then we have a touch of the infinite, and that is self-realization. That's knowledge and conversation with your holy guardian angel, according to some in the Western mystery traditions. It's when you understand the bigger picture and you realize, I am not the body, I am something much more than the body, but the body is my vehicle for this 3D experience.
That's right. So you want to take care of that vehicle, and just like if you were to take your vehicle in for upgrades, oil changes, stuff like that, to keep it in good shape. So, where it takes you safely. That's what we need to consider our bodies. They are our temple. We really need to take good care of them. And if there's upgrades to be had, I think it's important that we get them.
And, they've told us that 90% of our DNA is junk DNA, which is not correct. And in reality, if we take everything that's been told to us and flip it to the opposite side, that would be far more correct. So you could view it as 90% of our DNA is DNA with latent potential, which is being activated right now.
We'll even look at something as simple as the food pyramid, how wrong that was. Unless you were to flip it over, then it was better.
Yes, exactly. This world is an inversion. It's kind of like an inverted mirror, and everything is a distortion of the reality. And there are truths out there that we could grasp, but we have to dig deep and we have to go within as well. As Buddha said, don't believe anything because I told you. Don't believe anything because your teachers, your family, your priests, your politicians. You have to weigh it with the mind, weigh it in the heart, and then what feels right, the vibrations you get of truth that come through will guide you.
Right. You definitely know when you feel truth. It just resonates to the very, very core. And those are some very wise words.
So, as this is saying, Genesis 1:1 refers to God as a plural being because it does say the Elohim. And even at the Tower of Babel, God says, come, let us go down there. Now, see how it's distorted, because we can start to get the thought, which many people have, that when you're talking the Elohim, you're just talking the Anunnaki. You're just talking about reptilians, and that's not the case either. So it's really, really confusing on purpose. The Elohim are very, very high vibrational beings. They are truly creator gods that help guide evolution. And you get people, they want you to have an either or mentality. Either you're capitalist or you're communist. There's nothing else. You're either, you believe in creation or you believe in evolution. There's nothing else. You're left or you're right. You're conservative or you're liberal. There's no other choices. That's not the case. The world is full of a myriad of shades of gray. And that's one of the things we have to recognize and realize. And that's what we see when we look at the Tao. We see there's dark in the light and there's light in the dark. And there's interplay between both. There is creation, but then there's also evolution. Evolution is a natural process of the creation.
And they've gotten people to take so much pride in their education as far as what they have learned to be truth, to be fact, that people are not open to actually going within and just taking the information that's broadcast to their bodies and making something with that. They're afraid to. And some people, I've actually heard people say, well, if everything I've learned is a lie, it's just too difficult for me to go back and relearn everything. So I'm just going to continue to believe what I believe.
Exactly. And this is really all about changes in our DNA to bring us back to something that we had been. And so when we hear the fall of man, the reference to the fall of man, this is a fall in consciousness. We could view it as a fall from the golden age into a silver age, into a bronze age, into a dark age. Now we're going out of the dark age, we're going back into the bronze age, then the silver, and then the gold age. So we're on the ascending path. And so we could also view it in terms of the zodiac. As we said so many times, why do you see, 12 tribes of Israel? Why do you see the 12 apostles? Why do we have 12 zodiac? Everything is part of this matrix. There's archetypes as well. Archetypes we could utilize, and once we fully understand these archetypes, and we'll get into archetypes in future videos in much deeper manner, then we could start to understand the bigger picture, because it is very much like a computer program. Our body is like a biological computer program. This is a download that is coming from the sun, and this is a scheduled download. Meanwhile, you can view it as we have a nasty computer virus that has taken over this program and is trying to block this download. And this dark, draconian, reptilian, AI goo, black goo virus that has control of so many on this planet already is trying to block the natural progression, the natural upgrade that's coming to bring things into a new understanding and to activate latent powers and abilities. So they will do anything they can to block these downloads. So for the next 6 weeks, try to get out there in the sun as much as possible. You're going to be seeing a lot of this stuff going on. And this is the number one reason for this. There's other reasons as well. As we know, keeping certain businesses afloat. It's all about money in this money matrix system that we have as well. Money equals control. But this is really the number one reason why you see this. They don't want this to activate this, to increase your abilities so that you see through the illusion.
Right. And just look what they're doing right now. They're strongly encouraging people to almost like literally stay inside, do not go outside. But I really want to implore to people, spend that 10 minutes out there, even if you don't have the direct shiny sunlight. If you're getting some light on your skin, and then see how you're doing in 6 weeks from now. See how you're feeling. Just make that effort. Do it for yourself.
I just had the thought too. And many times we watch these movies. If you guys seen Underworld, Underworld is a story about vampires against werewolves, and of course the vampires are the aristocracy, the werewolves equal the beast, equal most of the human population, well, all the human population when you get down to it, pretty much. So it's that view of the aristocracy against the beasts, the sheep, the herd, the flock. That's really how they view it, the cattle. And yet, what are the aristocracy? What are the vampires afraid of? You know what the vampires are afraid of. They're afraid of that which exposes everything, that which brings light encoded information and will change us to where they're no longer the aristocracy.
Mm-hmm. So this is just a natural evolution. It'll go on for about 6 weeks, then it's going to back off for a few months, and then it's going to go on. And they showed me up to like a 5-year time frame. And this is also going to give the Earth some changes too.
Yep. And so this is also why we see certain agendas. This is also why we see certain forecasts, DEAGEL, for instance, because they can't have the cattle getting out of the pen.
And understanding what we're inherently getting now. They don't want us to understand our abilities.
So we need to recognize that. We need to recognize that, do you feel like you're just a single sheep in the flock? Maybe being head down towards the processing plant. Recognize what's really going on in the bigger picture of things. So guys, thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Make sure you are subscribed and click the bell and hopefully get a notification or two. As always, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.